What is going on, everyone? My name is Gage Luke, and I am here with a crew of people for a NeON topic discussion podcast. That's right. This is our show where we break down the biggest topics in video game industry, and we got some big breaking news. So we wanted to come at you pretty much right off the rip. We're kind of diving into a story that we don't have all the angles on yet, but we're going to do our best to break it down for you guys and give our thoughts. So I'm here with an expert crew of pundits like myself. We have a special guest, VerumDex, in the house. Say what up.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
Hell yeah. We have Steven TheSingerBro. Always a pleasure to be by your side.
How's it going, man? And I realized I muted my mic for the intro. But... How the hell are you doing?
All right. Also, I'm not by your side. In this case, I'm above you. Hi down there. Hey, down there. This is great for audio listeners. And to my digital left, we have no, I guess my real life left to my digital right is Jacob.
We're not good at figuring out directions.
Webcams. Jacob the dungeon.
Webcams are mirrored.
Yeah, right. Jacob the Dungeon Master Jones. What's up, dude?
I see. So this is what war is.
Yeah.
Bust.
What's up? What's up?
That's
from Gundam.
That Gundam.
That's Gundam.
I was gonna say
that's Amuro Ray.
Amuro Ray, yeah.
Pilot of the RX-7882. Grandpa
Classic.
Gundam. Hello, I'm ready to talk about some crazy shit that's going on. Rich people be damned. People are essentially saying, "Screw you, rich people. We're gonna do our own shit."
Yeah, I mean, I think in the spirit of maybe the original vision of this publisher, this story is pretty wild. So tonight this afternoon, I guess we learned originally from Jason Schreier's reporting that Annapurna Games Publishing seems to be in a weird and limbo-ish state. So real quick, I'm pulling from actually a wrap-up on sportsillustrated.com from Josh Broadwell, kind of random, but the entirety of Annapurna's interactive staff resigned after Megan Ellison, the indie game publisher's owner and owner of Annapurna Pictures, walked away from negotiations to make the games division independent. Bloomberg's Jason Schreier first reported the news and spoke with sources familiar with the matter and representatives from Annapurna Pictures. Schreier sources said that Annapurna Interactive president Nathan Gary and other executives resigned when Ellison left the negotiations, and 24 additional Annapurna staff members resigned soon after. A quick quote from Ellison: "Our top priority is to continue to support our developer and publishing partners during this transition. We're committed to not only our existing slate of games, but also expanding our presence in the interactive space as we continue to look for opportunities to take a more integrated approach to linear and interactive storytelling across film and TV, gaming, and theater." So the article continues, but wow.
Yeah.
Nuts. This is Megan
That's a
Ellison.
statement. She didn't say anything there. Like,
in case you're wondering, this is what she looks
we're
like.
gonna keep supporting the people we're supporting. Is basically what she said.
It's corporate word salad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, honestly, she's like, we lost our workforce, so we're gonna keep supporting them somehow. I don't know how, but we're gonna do that.
So here we go. Later on in the article, just to continue the facts that we do have before we fully dive into opinions, it says that Annapurna's development partners have, quote, scrambled to find new points of contact, unquote, and get clarity about the state of their projects. Sanchez reportedly said that Annapurna will replace staff who left, though he offered no timeline for when this action might take place. So, there are some games that are fairly imminent that are probably feeling nervous, to say the least, about all of this. But yeah, what's your guys' initial thoughts? We'll just go down the line, Jacob, after hearing this news today. Where are you at?
This is completely insane. I was reading a Reddit article that was saying the Ellison family is just one of those rich families that like owns different things. Like I think that one of the sons is going to become the CEO of Paramount pretty soon. Wow. The dad is like the CEO of another big ass corporation, and Ellis, this Ellison lady, Megan Ellison, is, you know, in charge
Yeah.
of this company now. We've also heard that Annapurna has talked about wanting to make AAA games or get into AAA games, which when I first heard that made me a little worried, you know, because I'm like, okay, you know, Annapurna's been this publisher for the small, like, great indie games. They start talking about bigger things. I know you may have ambitions, but I don't know, worries me. It feels like maybe the vision of what this company is going to change, and not a week or two. Like, I feel like we just heard that maybe a month ago. This happened, so I think it's very telling. And it's pretty depressing, but like I saw someone else on Reddit say, we could all hope that at least the people at Annapurna that left have some sort of other plan to sort of, you know, spin off and do their own thing, and hopefully get some of these clients back and to help them. But it does suck. It sucks for the developers. You know, Flock just came out. As you can see, we have some games above. Morsels had a really good showing, I think, at one of the showcases. I forget which one. I think it looked really cool. It was one of the coolest looking games I saw at that whatever specific showcase.
Mixtape looks freaking rad.
Mixtape looks like it's going to come out and be one of the best games of the year next year. So it's really the caliber of the quality we get from Annapurna is world class in indie gaming, and it just hurts to see this happen, because they were like a beacon in this horrible landscape of corporate overlords and consolidation with Microsoft, and, you know, studios being destroyed and layoffs happening after all these games release and do well, and it's just kind of happening here too in its own form. So it's just very unfortunate.
Yeah, it was an Indie World showcase where that Morsel showed up, just to give you.
Thank you.
And for more context, Larry Ellison was a co-founder of the software company Oracle, which is a net worth of $158 billion. So that's his kids. So
just as a disclosure, we use NetSuite, and, you know, I'm an accountant, so we use NetSuite, which is an Oracle accounting software. You know, like Oracle's huge.
Yeah, it's huge.
They're in everything, kind of. Yeah, totally. So yeah, Steven, to continue, any initial thoughts after hearing this?
Yeah, man, it's just it's a big blow, I think, right? When especially these are the people that are they handle your promotion, they handle your marketing, they handle the outreach for new, like, potential clients, right? That was this team. If that's what I'm getting, right? That's who all just left. Basically, kind of the backbone of all of the gaming division is gone, except for Sanchez, who is now trying to make a new team, right? Which I thought was interesting. Like, they're just gonna replace them, and it's just gonna be fine. You know, a lot of great talent left, and I kind of wonder why they were trying to split off on the onset, right? Like.
Yeah, that's what has me a little bit confused as well.
And what deal couldn't they come to? Was it that they couldn't take the intellectual property with them when they left, and that's why, right? And so they're just like, well, like, we can't come to it. We're just gonna go, even though they're the reason why most of the success has happened. You know, all the critical darlings that they've had from the indie stuff. So, yeah, I think it's impactful in mostly right now at this point to the devs, right? So my heart goes out to those, you know, like, they're probably panicking a little bit, you know, because the people that they've built the relationships with at Annapurna are just suddenly gone. So that's my gut reaction. I hope that they find nice people to replace those people, you know, competent people, but they definitely won't be the same. So
I also read that like, part of the partnership was beyond just marketing and publishing, as well QA, you know, game testing. So, you know, like, essential functions that, like, an indie team would have to internalize or, like, beta test to, like, a public or whatever, that Annapurna was you know, giving these, you know, like, immense assistance, you know, it's just like it has to be blowing their mind. Like I would be panicking for sure.
It's crazy to think like QA so often seems to be looked at as the lowest rung of like the development thing, but like for a really small, like let's say group of 5 to 15 people making a game, like to add on enough people to like legitimately QA test a game, like makes it's a huge task to do and possibly really costly. But then also your game running at a certain quality level is what elevates certain indie games above other ones, right? Like the indie games that come out like that feel relatively flawless to play, like an Inside or a Limbo that we've something like that. Those are games that get tens because they don't have those hitches, right? Where other indie games that come out with bugs, like they might get the cute art style bump or the gameplay bump, but they're all gonna have that underscore of like, yeah, but it's buggy. You know what I mean? Like, which is tough for a small team. So Dex, I want to bring you in here. What's your history with Annapurna, and what's your initial sticker shock here happening after this news?
So I've only played like a handful of Annapurna games, but like some games I saw that I was like, I didn't know they published that, like Flower or Journey. Like,
oh yeah.
Even when I played those, I wasn't aware of like the Annapurna name, but like Ashen I've dabbled in. What was it? Thirsty Suitor, Stray.
Yeah.
Games like that. Like they have such a wide breadth of different games that they help to bring to market for gamers that I think this is a huge blow in terms of that, because I feel like indies nowadays have gotten a lot more of the limelight in a lot of different ways, whether it's from publishers like Annapurna or one indie showcase, stuff like that. And to have such a powerhouse in terms of the indie space be gone at this point is never a good thing, because indie games make up the vast majority of video games that we play.
Yeah.
And like I don't blame the workers at all, because like it's 9.9 times out of 10 it's never going to be the workers' fault in terms of why something bad happens. And I would think they would have a good reason to want to split from the overall kind of corporate kind of machine that they're part of.
Yeah.
Because I would imagine with Megan Ellison, just because she's from this very almost dynasty kind of family of CEOs and stuff like that, there's probably things happening. Whether I'm not 100% sure on the AAA thing, but maybe that wasn't something they wanted to do. Maybe that was something they were into.
Yeah.
Because maybe Megan or some other executive wanted to see those AAA profits of some kind, and they wanted to continue the work they have been doing and expand more in that direction. It could have been a number of things we don't know at this point, but I imagine it's something like that. And with them wanting to go independent, I just think there's probably some ego there where they didn't want them to go, and we're being difficult in that whole kind of negotiation talk. But I think it's based that they just were like, you're not gonna listen to us, so we're just gonna bye.
Yeah, that is a move that we don't often see. And I mean, I've experienced a very small version of this in a company that I used to work for, in which the leader of a division was getting pushed out by these new corporate like implementations that they wanted to implement in the company, and he was like, I can't deal, I'm not about it. And so he literally was like, he resigned. And then I was at the time a general manager in like whatever, and then there was 4 assistant managers under me, and like we all pretty much got together and we're like, I think we're good, because like the person that was going to replace him was like the worst. She was this like total corporate shill, and we were all like nah, let's get the hell out of here while we can. So I stuck around for like an extra month because I just needed to for financial reasons. But then we all left, and then because of that, a whole bunch of staff underneath us left. It was pretty satisfying. But
that's awesome.
Nice.
But yeah, I mean, crazy.
Yeah, so like I hope the people who left are able to find work pretty quickly after, or have something in place already. Because it always sucks to do what is the right thing, but then there's hardship from that. So hopefully they're able to land on their feet pretty okay. And then also just for the devs, because I'm pretty sure it's just like whether you're gearing up for a release or you're trying to get your game into a certain spot and you don't have those resources anymore, and so then you're I feel like there's a panic that's going on, and so I feel for the development teams and the studios kind of having to deal with this too.
Yeah, absolutely. It's hard too because it's like, when you're a dev and maybe your studio gets shut down, I feel like you can come out to the games industry and the games media industry and say, hey, we built these 3 games that you all know and love. Now we want to form a new team or something like that, or do a Kickstarter based off of, hey, we built this game. But it's a little weird when you're just nebulous because you're kind of a publisher and you're like the people behind what's behind games. And so you don't necessarily have that same,
right?
Yeah, you're not necessarily like, hey, we're the people from Annapurna and will you guys give us money to publish other games that we don't know about yet? Like, that's a weird thing,
Totally.
I think you could take, though, and I wouldn't be surprised, I don't know if you're going to get into this a little bit, but like if they take that crew and do something, right? Because they were already planning to do their own
independent
thing. I'm wondering, if like obviously funding is a thing that's gonna probably dictate what they do, but I wouldn't be surprised to hear something, right?
That's true.
In that regard, it would be cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think if it's literally the entire infrastructure of this team, including, it sounded like the leader of it, right? Like that's I guess that is true. If they can find some funding somewhere, they could literally do it. And just for me, like, Annapurna for a while now has been like kind of like a dream job potential for me or something. You know what I mean? Like, I think that their like approach to, there's the Devolver Digitals of the world, which I think are kind of on the similar wavelength in some ways, but just Annapurna's like picks behind what they publish, it seems like they go for stuff that's really like artistically driven, emotionally driven. Like What Remains of Edith Finch, I think, is the first Annapurna game I played. Oh, Gone Home, I guess. And then like, and both of those are like, What Remains of Edith Finch is one of my top games of all time. Flower's amazing. Florence,
Outer Wilds,
Outer Wilds,
one of my favorite games of all time, for sure.
Sayonara Wild Hearts, The Unfinished Swan, like it just, the list goes on. I haven't played the Pathless, but it looks gorgeous.
Neon White.
They know how to pick them, right?
The Artful Escape, like, oh man.
Stray was a big hit, I think, last year, yeah.
And that's an interesting thing. They had talked about having some financial issues, but like Stray was such a big hit. I mean, it was winning like game awards and stuff, or nominating at least. And
it was the day one on PS Plus too.
Yep.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Neon White. Wow. It's just one of those things where we've seen the problems with corporate consolidation and the problems with the ballooning of bigger gaming publishers around the industry, like Xbox, like Embracer Group, and that type of stuff. And so we've seen these types of problems affect teams and either result in layoffs or studio closures around the industry. It's interesting to see that. I don't know if this team was trying to just be proactive against those types of things, and then didn't get the reaction that they wanted from the overlords.
Yeah.
But I would have thought that Annapurna was a lot more, trying to fill a different space than these other big publishers. But it seems like maybe, like you said, Jacob, with the mention of a move towards AAA development, or publishing, maybe that was starting to that mood was starting to shift in the company.
Yeah, I would assume. I mean, I think Dex covered it like pretty much. Like the scenario he put before us is exactly what I'm thinking. Is that the culture of Annapurna changing before their eyes? They probably wanted to essentially create a separate branch, have a transitionary period where they could still do their thing, still pick these great games. And if the company wanted to go in another direction, they could do both. But, it would take money, it would take time, and it would take that commitment to their passion, which is bringing these excellent games to all of us. I mean, this is all speculation, but I can assume that like these people are good at what they do, and they clearly care about like excellent games in the indie space, which aren't super duper profitable, right? They usually cost less money to buy, so then I'm sure they make less money, although they take less money to develop as well. But then the developers are the one making the game, not Annapurna, and so I could see like they're just trying to make more money, and it's essentially clashing with the culture and the vision of what Annapurna is and has been. I could see an entire workforce quitting in defiance,
being over it,
rather than like you're not striking for more money. You're just saying, hey, we're not going to do this, and the other side's like, we're not going to do that. So see ya. I don't know. Just really sad.
and when there's no unionization behind it or anything like that, then there's no real bargaining power beyond just like the individual, right? Which is like, it sounded like I don't know what their title was, director or CEO or whatever, like was trying to bargain on behalf of his entire team, but sorry, the details are so fresh in my mind, I haven't fully absorbed.
Their team regardless, right?
Their team regardless, yeah. But it's too bad because we the same thing in the movie industry, which we know Annapurna is also a part of. I think Annapurna and A24 have found a huge success occupying that lower budget indie and horror film space, in which like some of their horror films that they've published, like Midsummer, for instance, much lower budget, but it sees a huge success at the box office and in popularity in general, you know what I mean? So it seems like I was always like, oh yeah, they can have that same approach to video games. It makes so much sense, but apparently not. So
yeah, and I also think like with all the kind of vitriol and uncertainty when it comes to AAA development now, I could see them feeling like almost like moving that direction could be a death sentence for not only their company or their careers, because as we see, no matter if you get to the top of the top, whether that's with Xbox Game Studios, PlayStation Studios, stuff like that, your job isn't safe. Like,
exactly,
no matter how successful or what, you can be on the chopping block at any moment. And so I could imagine that if that wasn't something they were wanting to do, that's probably some feelings they were having.
Yeah, seriously. Well, let's try and go around and give just a little bit of positivity into this. Just any shout outs you want to say as far as games from Annapurna that you loved, and just a little bit about, or any that you were looking forward to in the future.
I'll just go first. The one I'm looking forward to the most in the future right now is The Lost Wild.
Oh yeah,
it's like a survival dinosaur, like scary Jurassic Park game that I've always fucking wanted, right? That looks amazing.
It does.
I can't wait. Because you've got things like Ark, but I don't think it really captures the same tone or that I'm looking for. Okay, it's also a little janky. This just looks like, I don't know, it's got high fidelity. It's got the tension that I'm looking for in that kind of game. I don't know. It looks awesome. I can't wait for this one.
This has like an Alien Isolation vibe, but for dinos. It's so great.
Yeah.
And as far as current ones or past ones, What Remains of Edith Finch like made me cry. That game like made me tear up.
Seriously.
Just played it one solid sitting. Beautiful game. And they do all kinds of amazing games. Donut County was another one I just played all the way through because it was just it's just a clever concept, right? You're
making
you
holes.
are the whole, right? You are the whole and doing different things with the whole, right? And it was just clever. A lot of really clever incredible games, Outer Wilds. But yeah, I'll leave it open to somebody else.
Outer Wilds, still one of my like top 10 games of all time. Excellent game, blew my mind. Every time I hear the music from that game, it just brings me back to that like world and the feeling it gave me. Definitely listen to that soundtrack if you haven't ever. But yeah, definitely cool. Play that game if you haven't. It's incredible. But also the same with what was that other game? Artful Escape, which was, as a person who loves music, just talking about music, it's all about music. It's essentially like experiencing a concept album, which is excellent. I mean, it's not like the hardest gameplay and you are just kind of walking in one direction or like pressing buttons to have your character shred on the guitar. But that's what's badass about it. And that's what I like about Annapurna games, is that they can do whatever they want, and they can execute it excellently. I also really like Neon White. As
Storyteller is really good, by the way, too.
Storyteller, I really want to play. It's been on my wish list for a while. Where you just like go through like aspects of
different things to get
like a fairy tale, right?
Well, you're doing different things to solve the puzzle of the sentence, right? Like get this with this to get this to happen, right? And in little pains, and it's cute and funny, and I played it with my girlfriend, and it's just
That's
a good
cool.
time.
Yeah, it seems trippy as hell.
One of the ones I was looking forward to, which for all intents and purposes, everything's gonna be fine, but Mixtape was announced at the Xbox showcase, and it's from the team that did Artful Escape, which was one of my favorite games that year. Yes. And this just looks like it hits all that kind of Life is Strange vibes with like the late 80s like aesthetic thing going on, and it's or late 80s early 90s even, and it's just killing it for me. The soundtrack looks amazing. So I really hope that doesn't get affected in a negative way by this. And then you guys named a lot of the great ones from Annapurna, but shout out to Sayonara Wild Hearts. That was another really fun music-oriented game, one you can play on your mobile phone, which is pretty cool. And then we of course all know Journey. And then Ashen was a really fun Souls-like that I played back in the day, and had a really unique art style and some cool stuff going on for it. So yeah, just an incredible swath of games, and I hope that
What about Dex? What are some games he likes?
So the one that always comes to mind, since now I know Annapurna published this, was Journey, because that was the first game I think I played that dealt more with visual kind of storytelling rather than narrative, like speaking storytelling. And so that's the first time I ever did play a game like that I felt impacted and really just enjoyed the whole overall experience of it. I liked the whole seamless interactions with other players that you didn't realize at first until you got to the credits kind of thing. And I just thought it was a really good, impactful game, because it's it's like looking at a painting. Everybody can interpret their own meaning from it, whether you think the civilization crumbled because of one reason or another. And I think that's something that's really awesome, and thought it was really cool they were able to take such a beautiful world and kind of tell that story that so many people could take so many different things from it. And I played games like Flower. I really liked Flower. I liked kind of the message of what Flower's trying to do, because it's all about taking care of the environment, stuff like that. That was a fun, simple game. And that's the one thing I do like about a lot of these games. There's really simple oftentimes in nature, but they're very impactful at the same time. That they're able to take a simple concept, but still leave a lasting impact on you.
And I think with Annapurna, to dovetail off what you're saying, it's they're very impactful, and they actually stand for something. Every single one of the games, I feel like. So
agreed. And so they really know how to pick good games to kind of bring to market and showcase, and get people to really delve into the indie space and see what indie games can do and be amazing without having to be from an Activision, an EA or Ubisoft. Games can be amazing if they're not hundreds of billions of dollars.
Yeah.
And looking forward to that Lost World game. Everything TheSingerBro said, super cool looking. Love that alien isolation vibe. And then Mixtape. I'm a sucker for coming of age stories, because I feel like there's so much you can do with those. Not everybody's coming of age story is the same as somebody else's. So I think that's such a cool genre that has a lot of potential. So I always look forward to those.
Yeah, hell yeah. Well, we want to see, as the AAA space continues to see so many problems with longer and longer development times, corporate consolidation that results in big teams or beloved studios getting laid off, the chase of games as a service that take us away from beloved single player experiences. We look to things like indies, or at least smaller publisher, in the the indie as a word, but maybe not as a definition, space to, you know, fill in these smaller, more bite-sized and more obtainable stories and games. So we hope to not see more, you know, failure in those sectors of the industry. So any closing words before we get out of here?
I hope everything works out. Sorry, Dex.
I like that.
Rich people do suck. I hope everything works out for the people who left Annapurna and all the devs who are going to be affected by this. That's what I have to say.
Yeah, if you're a games publisher or maybe a developer who is looking for this type of stuff, look up some of these people. I'm sure they're going to be all over Twitter. Or maybe we see something new from them. Hopefully, here's hoping.
Yeah.
We'll keep you posted as things progress on further content on NeON Gaming Dimensions. So thanks for checking this video out. It'll be up on YouTube at youtube.com/@NeON Gaming Dimension, where you can find all sorts of stuff, gaming reviews, let's plays, more NeON topic discussions, all sorts of good stuff. So my name is Gage Luke, and I'll let the other guys say peace out.
Bye. I'm Jacob.
Peace out.
Bye. Jacob says bye.
Bye.
And Dex says bye too.
I'm VerumDex. Bye.
Hasta la vista, baby.